Hi guys, this is the Idaho Picker. We're going to continue on with our reading of Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars and Introductory Programming Manual. Now, I've already had two readings already. They're 15-minute segments, so I would encourage you to go back if you're new to this video. Go back and listen to and read along with me the first 15 minutes, the second 15 minutes, and then continue on with the series. Today we're going to continue on, and we're going to go into the summary of the first two readings that we did, and let's move ahead. Economics is only a social extension of a natural energy system. It also has three passive components because of the distribution of wealth and the lack of communication and lack of data. This field has been the last energy field for which a knowledge of these three passive components has been developed. Since energy is the key to all activity on the face of the earth, it follows that in order to attain a monopoly of energy, raw materials, goods, and services, and establish a world system of slave labor, it is necessary to have a first strike capability in the field of economics. In order to maintain our position, it is necessary that we have absolute first knowledge of the science of control over the economic factors and the first experience at engineering the world economy. In order to achieve such sovereignty, we must at least achieve this one end, that the public will not make either the logical or mathematical connection between economics and the other energy sciences, or learn to apply such knowledge. This is becoming increasingly difficult to control because more and more businesses are making demands upon their computer programmers to create and apply mathematical models for the management of those businesses. It is only a matter of time before a new breed of private programmer / economists will catch on to the far-reaching implications of the world begun at Harvard in 1948. The speed with which they can communicate their warning to the public will largely depend upon how effective we have been at controlling the media, subverting education, and keeping the public distracted with matters of no real importance. Sometimes when CNN uploads videos, they actually call it a distraction. I mean, they just put it right in your... It's amazing. Economics as a social energy science has a first objective, the description of the complex way in which any given unit of resources is used to satisfy some economic want. Leontief matrix, maybe? I don't know. I don't know everything, guys. This first objective, when it is extended to get the most product from the least or limited resources, comprises that objective of general military and industrial logistics known as operations research. This simple method of linear programming. And that word linear programming, you should look into that word. Google it. You'll be quite surprised as to what you find out. How easy it is to manipulate the average public. The Harvard Economic Research Project 1948 was an extension of World War II operations research. Its purpose was to discover the science of controlling an economy, at first the American economy and then the world economy. It was felt with sufficient mathematical foundation and data, it would be necessarily as easy to predict and control the trend of the economy as to predict and control the trajectory of a projectile. Such has proven to be the case. Moreover, the economy has been transformed into a guided missile on target. Right? The imminent aim of the Harvard Project was to discover the economic structure, what forces change the structure, how the behavior of the structure can be predicted, and how it can be manipulated. What was needed was a well-organized knowledge of the mathematical structures and interrelationships of investment, production, distribution, and consumption. To make a short story of it all, it was discovered that the economy obeyed the same laws as electricity. Wow. And that all of the mathematical theory and practical and computer know-how developed for the electronic field could be directly applied in the study of economics. This discovery was not openly declared, and its more subtle implications were and are kept a closely guarded secret. For example, that in an economic model, human life is measured in dollars, and it is. That's why you have a marriage certificate and birth certificates. And that the electric spark generated when opening a switch connected to an active inductor is mathematically analogous to the initiation of war. The greatest hurdle which challenge because consumer purchases are a matter of choice, which in turn is influenced by income, price, and other economical factors. This hurdle was cleared in an indirect and statistically approximate way by an application of shocking testing to determine the current characteristics called current technical coefficients of a household industry. Finally, because problems in the theoretical electronics can be translated very easily into the problems of theoretical electronics, and the solution translated back again, it follows that only a book of language translation and concept definition needed to be written for economics. The remainder could be forgotten from standard works on mathematics and electronics. This makes the publication of books on advanced economics unnecessary and greatly simplifies project security. Industrial diagrams. Okay. An ideal industry is defined as a device which receives value from other industries in several forms and converts them into one specific product for sale and distribution to other industries. It has several inputs and one output. What the public normally thinks of as an industry is really an industrial complex, where several industries under one roof produce one or more products. A pure single output industry can be represented simply by a circuit block as follows. Don't know if you've done any studying of electronics and such. I've done a fair amount of that in high school and college, and it's just basically showing you a simple circuit here. You get multiple inputs and one output. Okay. The flow of product from industry number 1 supply to industry number 2 demand is denoted by 1. The total flow out of industry K is denoted by IK, sales, etc. So everything coming in over here being put together and coming out over here. The 3 industry network can be diagrammed as follows. A node is a symbol of collection and distribution of flow. Node number 3 receives from industry number 3 and distributes to industry number 1 and number 3. If industry number 3 manufactures chairs, then a flow from industry number 3 back to industry number 3 simply indicates that industry number 3 is using part of its own output product. Just means they're using some of their own stuff, right? Simply indicates using part of its own product. For example, as office furniture. Therefore, the flow may be summarized by the equations. Now, they're trying to make this simple, but these are completely new concepts that we have not been exposed to, at least not in the way that understanding how it controls society. So please watch this video several times. 3 industrial classes. Industries fall into 3 categories or classes by type of output. Class 1, capital resources. Class 2, goods, commodities, or use dissipative. Class 3, services actions, that's the action of population. Class 1 industries exist at 3 levels: nature, sources of energy, and raw materials. Number 2, government, printing of a currency equal to the gross national product, and extension of currency in excess of GNP. Banking, loaning of money for interest and extension, inflation, counterfeiting of economic value through the deposit loan accounts. Class number 2, industries exist as producers of tangible or consumer dissipated products. This sort of activity is usually recognized and labeled by the public as industry. Class number 3, industries are those which have service rather than a tangible product as their output. These industries are called households and governments. Their output is human activity of a mechanical sort, and their basis is population. The whole economic system can be represented by a three-industry model if one allows the names of the outputs to be capital, goods, and services. The problem with this representation is that it would not show the influence, say, the textile industry on the ferrous metal industry. This is because both the textile industry and the ferrous metal industry would be contained within a single classification called the goods industry. And by this process of combining or aggregating these two industries under one system block, they would lose their economic individuality. The E model. The national economy exists of simultaneous flows of production, distribution, consumption, and investment. If all of these elements, including labor and human functions, are assigned a numerical value like units of measure, say $1939, then this flow can be further represented by a current flow in an electronic circuit, and its behavior can be predicted and manipulated with useful precision. The 3 ideal passive energy components of electronics, the capacitor, the resistor, and the inductor, correspond to the 3 ideal passive energy components of economics, called the pure industry of capital, goods, and services, respectively. Economic capacitance represents the storage of capital in one form or another. Economic conductance represents the level of conductance of materials for the production of goods. Economic inductance represents the inertia of economic value in motion. This is a population phenomenon known as services. Next, we will be getting into economic inductance and the inductive factors to consider, and just continuing to move on into some stuff here, okay? And I really encourage y'all guys to continue to make yourself listen to this. Make yourself listen to it a few times until you have a clue what it means, because this is some of the information that has been withheld from you. Some of the information that we have been lied to about, some of the technology and techniques that have been applied to control you, your family, your history, my history, and in order to beat it, we have to understand it. And we will, in fact, do that right here on Logic Before Authority.